Look, change or growth. What's the difference between the two? Neither way, neither one of them happens by accident. It's the result of daily, deliberate repetitions. What are you rapping? Welcome to Unbreakable. Hey, welcome, y'all. Hey, it's training day Tuesday. And so I've been having these conversations over these last week and a half, and it's all been about people having challenges and a lot of comments being made to the effect of, well, if somebody's been doing something for so long, making a change is hard. And some parts of that I understand, and some parts I don't understand. So, can you tell me what the difference between making a change is or growing is? Which one do you choose, or what's the difference from your opinion? Put that in the chat, please. Let me know what the difference between making a change and growing, because some people will rest on, I've been doing this for so long, it's hard to make a change. And I think, in my opinion, when it comes down to wanting something, you have to grow into it. And in order to be able to grow, that's going to take me to coaching point number one. Growth requires discomfort. You can't stay in comfortability and expect for things to change in your life. You can't make sure you have more money working one job because that's what you know to do. So you add another job and that's what you know to do. Not just nothing is wrong with that. What about taking your skill set and really going to the marketplace and putting it out there? That's going to require that you grow in some areas, that you learn some new skills in some areas. And sometimes what's going to end up happening is the same resistance that frustrates you, that's the same thing that prepares you for what you need to do next. And a lot of times people fight that. Your routine, if it's too easy, all you doing is repeating stuff. You're not growing and you're not making a change. That's why relationships fail. That's why you income from a financial level, we stay at the same place. And that's because there are things that if it feels too easy, or that's just the repetition and you just going through the motion, or you even doing some things that you don't like, but you doing them anyway, you're not going to grow, nor are you going to make a change. And what ends up happening is you end up being frustrated. It affects your mental health. It affects your body. And in order to be unbreakable, there are things you have to work on, from eating to how you prepare your mind on a daily basis, from how you partner with people. And it's just super important because the best performers, they seek change because that's what gets them to the next level. And if you ever watch how people go to the next level, it usually starts, growth usually starts, change usually starts the moment comfort ends. So you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's super important, which takes me to coaching point number two. Change is a daily decision. Transformation, it just doesn't happen overnight. You transform over a period of time. It reminds me when I first went to college and I was a freshman. I almost did not make it. My body was so sore. I was mentally tired. I was physically beat up. My spirits was broke because I didn't start like I thought I should. And I had a choice at that point in time to push through and make it or break. And I decided that I needed to do some different things coming in my second year going into camp. And I had to make a change and do some different repetition things. Like at 9:30, I was in the bed because we had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. But before I got into bed, I had to go through a whole stretching regimen because my body was so sore. I've never experienced anything in life like 2-a-days. And if you're an athlete of any sort or any kind, you know that 2-a-day practices is the toughest thing you'll do in life because it's every day, all day. And back then it was 21 days of 2-a-days. And it was just, ooh wee. And so going in, stretching at night, being in the bed at 9:30, getting up at 5:30 before the 6 o'clock wake up, and going through another stretching regimen just so that your body can make it through the day. That is how you transform over time. And it definitely made things a little easier. That was a different regimen I had to practice. And every day I had two choices. I could either repeat some old habits and just go through the motion, or I could evolve and do something totally different. And I chose to evolve and do some different things differently. And that actually put me in a position where my body did get stronger and I was able to actually begin to play. And it was a great thing, but I had to come up out of the comfort zone. And sometimes those little micro decisions, what you read, who you listen to, how you respond, compounds into major transition over time. And so when you work on the discipline, not the drama, that's what creates the lasting change. And consistency really beats intensity over time, no matter what. And so a lot of people want to stay in their comfort zone, but really they're unhappy. And it's because maybe they don't know how to change. And so this whole week on Unbreakable, we're going to be focusing on where to start. Where does change start? Some people say, well, I don't want to change. I want to stay the same. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to do me. Well, that's perfectly fine. But where do you need to grow at then? And put in the chat again, what's the difference between growing and what's the difference between changing? I've had some very energetic conversations about the difference between growth and change. Some people don't want to change and feel like they don't need to grow, but yet they're unhappy. Some people don't know where to even start with change. And then when it gets tough, they don't know what to do to push through it. And so this week, we're going to focus on how to grow, how to change, what sort of things do you need to do to be able to put in place, which takes me to coaching point number 3. You have to train on what you want to transform. Train on what you want to transform. If you want a better relationship, you have to study relationship stuff. If you want a better dating life, you have to learn how to date you have to train on how to date. If you want more money, you have to train on how to make more money. If you want to be able to run a business, you got to train on how to run a business. And what you do repeatedly, what you focus on, that's what becomes your strength. Me, I'm a personality temperament expert, a relationship expert, a team platinum performance coach, where I go in and I work with teams, I work with people on how to elevate to a platinum performance level, because I've done that by experience. And I've been training people for 30 years. And so I see what works, I see what I practice. And so there's a variety of things to do. And You have to focus on what you want to be, what you want your strengths to become at. And don't just wish for change. You got to train for it. Your biggest strength, your mindset, your habits, and the systems that support you at the next level. That's really what you have to focus on. And that's a tough thing sometimes to do because we don't have the right people or the right things around us. And so here at Unbreakable, we are a resource. We're a resource for people, information. Share, make a comment, put it out there. And if you want emotional control, you have to train your patience. If you want leadership, you have to train your humility. You can't elevate what you don't train. So train, train, train. And it's what you do before and after the storm. That's what'll decide whether you stay broken or you become unbreakable. And that's my time, y'all, for Training Day Tuesday. Look, put in the comments, let me know what the difference between change or growing. Do you feel like you need to change? Do you feel like you need to grow? Which one? What's the difference? And this week, we're going to be focusing on tips and where to start and how to recognize what you need to do. And we're going to give you that information out there. In the meantime, everybody